Welcome to the Cosmic Co Show. This is your modern guide to the universe. I am your host, Betty, and together we are going to learn how to live our best lives through astrology, human design, quantum physics, manifestation, working with higher dimensional beings and extraterrestrials, and so much more. On this podcast, we speak to guests from all of these different verticals to understand what their journeys have been like. And together we are going to learn really how to take elements of all of these areas so that we can come back to ourselves, find self-love, and create a better connection to the divine source. That is the aim here, and we're going to have fun while we do it. We're going to wear glitter, although you don't have to. I'm definitely going to. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode.
But I am here with a lovely friend that I met through the interwebs, and this is the first time we're talking properly. And she is a gorgeous human, an alien like myself. She does all of the magic. She comes from a background of fashion design and stepped out of it into the spiritual world. We're going to talk about all of her gifts. We both have an equal love for Gala Darling, who is the queen of all things. One day she'll hear this, I'm sure. And welcome to the podcast, my beautiful friend E.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. You know, this is baby's first podcast, so it feels really special to me.
Oh, don't say that. Makes me emotional, the bloody Pisces energy, and I don't even cry that easily.
You're gonna shed a few tears.
Yeah, we may get emotional, guys. You know, as a triple S sign, that's very difficult for me. But there may be some salt water in the crevice of my face at some point. But yeah, so glad to have you here. It's just going to be like us hanging out with, you know, some people listening on the other end at some point. But tell us all about who you are, what your big three are in astrology. There's going to be a few questions here, and how did you pop your spiritual cherry?
Oh, well, okay. So I'm definitely an ET. I I haven't been on Earth many times, so this is a little new for me, but I have definitely found my way around, I think, finally. I'm a Leo sun, a Taurus moon, and a Sag rising. Yeah.
Fire.
Yes. I do have a lot of fire, which is funny because I grew up very, very timid, and like looking into astrology, like as a child, you know, you look up your sun sign, and I was like, this is fucked up. Like, I'm not a Leo. Like, this is wrong. Like, I did not connect with Leo energy for a very long time. So I do see it now. I'm like constantly, you know, in a cat eye. Like,
yes.
I'm a cat mom, and will always and forever love my kitty babies. So yeah. Okay, let's see. Spiritual cherry.
Yeah. How'd you pop it?
I growing up was super sensitive. So I think it was I didn't quite know like that I was also feeling everybody else's stuff, you know? So I was very, very overwhelmed. Like as a kid, I was like, I wanted to hide. I couldn't even have like people look at me because it's like, it's a lot, you know? Even just like feel someone's soul, like when you're looking into their eyes, I'm like,
yeah,
this is overwhelming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really even dabble into things or feel like that pulled into any kind of esoteric stuff until, I don't know, I think I was 12. Around that age, we went into a bookstore and I found this book about life after death and people's like, you know, dying, having this experience and then coming back to life and telling about it. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, I think that was kind of something that intrigued me. And then I remember we like practiced as a kids, my sister, my cousin, and I like trying to pass messages telepathically to each other. and like tried to make potions and, you know, which I'm sure our community of like-minded people have done, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then I kind of I was a jock growing up. So I played all kinds of sports. So I kind of pushed that away until, gosh, not even that long ago. It's probably been like 6 to 7 years since I've like really been focused on this part of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it started with astrology. I'm trying to think because, you know, it's a blur.
Yeah, it can be a blur. And because it doesn't always happen necessarily with one event, it can happen in multiple times and events, and then it blurs like as to when on the timeline that happened. But that
Yeah.
book seemed like a really big part of it, you know, the life after death one.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, I've been there before in that in between space, you know?
Yeah.
And that actually, it's funny because I started listening to this podcast by this woman named Natalie Miles, and it's a podcast called So You Think You're Intuitive. I don't even know how I came across it, but that's what really helped me, because it basically led into like my big spiritual awakening, right? Like I know we're going to have many, and
Yeah.
you know, big and small, but that was like the first one where it was massive. Like I went into another place, you know? So yeah, she basically helped me connect to my guides, and she's like, basically all you have to say is ask for your guides to show up, ask for a sign, you know, and say that you're ready to talk to them, you're ready to communicate. And so I ended up doing this. I'd been doing some digging in my birth chart, my astrology chart and stuff, and I'd been like mind blown at things I'm finding like as I'm Googling, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
how did it tell me?
I
like,
know.
And now everyone's gonna think I'm crazy. Cool.
Did you find that people did react like that? Like the further down the rabbit hole you went, like how did the people around you react to the more you awoke?
I definitely felt, I think it was more of a self-imposed like feeling of like, okay, people are gonna think I'm crazy because I Googled something and now I think I know about my past lives, you know? Like it wasn't necessarily, I mean, I could feel a certain energy, you know, that was a little bit like, okay, cool, E. I'm glad you're enjoying this, you know?
Yeah.
I was most worried about my husband because we've been together for almost half of our lives now.
Wow.
And, you know, I've been 30 different people in the, you know, the span of our relationship. And he's kind of stayed like, you know, slow and steady. And I mean, of course he's changed, but it's not like the drastic shit that's going on over here, you know?
Yeah. I totally fucking know what you mean. I think I've been at least 75 people in the last week, you know?
Yes,
I get
exactly.
you. Yeah.
So I think my biggest worry was like, this is the most I've ever changed. Like, how is he going to react? Like, am I going to be able to connect with him anymore? You know,
Yeah.
like this is a huge thing in my life now. Like I have found, you know, I've finally found my path, and I know I can feel it in my cells that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, like this is this is where I feel at home, and it's not, you know, what everyone else is doing. You know, like this is still pretty obscure. You know, so it's funny because you know, he was listening to me when I'm like talking about, you know, oh, I looked up my South Node and like it says, you know, all this stuff about my past life and how, you know, this life I'm supposed to have a really great one because I've had such shitty lives in my past, you know, like all this stuff. And I was just like, wow, I feel this so powerfully, you know. And he, you know, was like, okay. just
Oh,
nodding, like
yeah.
not really giving off any kind of opinion, but just I could just feel like shit. Like, is this gonna tear us apart? Like
Mm.
I was super worried. And so I remember I was getting my hair done. And in the beginning of the day, I asked my guides to show up. I asked for a sign. And then I had this hair appointment. And at the time I was getting my hair bleached and colors and all this. So I was in the chair for 8 hours. And I
Oh,
get
mine
home.
took a long time.
Oh God.
Damn.
It
Anyways,
was
you
so yeah, I'm in the chair, I'm just, we're talking, and we actually had put on like an astrology podcast and everything. So it was cool to like have, this time to kind of talk about things and
yeah.
whatever. So I get home and it's past midnight and I'm so tired, but my energy's like up, like I'm still awake, So
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm just gonna lie in bed and like try to calm myself down. And um as I was kind of like just getting into more of a meditative state, I all of a sudden was hit with this immense love energy like I've never, ever, ever felt in my life before. It was insane. It was just incredible.
Oh.
I imagine, well, what I was feeling was this is the feeling of when you are out of your body in source energy, right? Like, this is the feeling of being source energy.
Mm.
It was so wild. And then I basically had met so many of my guides and just like messages coming in like rapid fire. Like, I was like, okay, guys, like, can one at a time? I can't like
Please.
hear everybody.
Yeah, all at once. Jesus.
Yes. And then like seeing flashes of my past lives, and they were like, hey, and then I remember feeling my husband move in the bed, and they were like, oh yeah, he's going to be with you. He's been with you in past lives before. He's here to protect you. He's here for the long run, like,
Oh,
don't
I
even
got
worry about that.
goosebumps. Oh,
Me
that's so
too. So yeah, it was like, your worries, no, don't even worry about it. Like, you're good. You guys are going to be fine, and I was like, oh
yeah.
my God, that was like all the reassurance I needed. And that definitely changed a lot with our relationship, because I mean, I had gotten so many messages. At one point, I was like, okay, I got to go to sleep. Like, please just leave me alone. I have to sleep. I have this human body that I need to take care of.
Yeah. Please give me a minute.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I told him about that, and how they were like, yeah, don't even worry, and how we've been in past lives together and all this stuff. And he was like, well, I always have these dreams of like, oh, because they also showed me like he's rescued you in the past. Like, he's always like, he's your protector. Like, he's gonna help you, And he was like, I always have these dreams about rescuing you, and like like you getting mixed up in shit, and like me needing to help you.
Me coming to sort it out.
Yeah.
That's
So
so
like,
wild.
yeah. So at that point, it was like, oh, yeah, he knows. Like, that was his like confirmation, kind of, like,
Yeah.
because he's very much a human,
Mm.
like, and I appreciate that to the nth degree, because every ET needs a human.
Oh my God. Yeah. I
To
think if
like,
there's two of you running around, it's mayhem.
yeah, especially, yeah, I feel at the level that that I feel not human. It's like, I definitely need this counterpart to be like, hey, so on Earth, this is what we do,
Yeah, and show you the way. It's so interesting you say this, and this is obviously so much alignment. And that's exactly how I feel as well. Like, so freaking alien that I just wanted nothing to do with this earth for a long time. And I didn't realize that a lot of starseeds, and trigger warning here, guys, but can be suicidal. And I was
Mhm.
like, I thought it was like, and it was to a point, depression and things like that. But it was also my soul saying, this is torture. Why are we here?
Yes.
Because like if you've been part of source energy, and I think I was consciousness for a while, and then I knew I was Arcturian, and I'd been shown I've covered this before, but in other podcasts, guys. So I'm sorry if I'm repeating this, but just in case you didn't know, like in relation to what you're saying, I was shown like I was an Arcturian general in many lifetimes. Like it kept coming, or maybe it was the same life and it just went on because they lived so much longer than us. And I
Yeah.
just don't remember. I mean, you were only in the process of remembering. I don't remember being human in a long, long time. So like you, I find it such a shock to the system, and I can't do the normal human things, like when people are like going and buying houses and getting jobs and working in the system. I'm like, how the fuck are you doing this shit? Like I don't know. So I know what you mean. Someone literally someone showing you how to do it, but also enjoying the experience of being a human is also like showing you how to experience it in a
Right.
joyful way is important.
Yeah, totally agree. And yeah, as far as like doing the normal human things, I'm like now just starting to like really tap into that, I feel, because yeah, like you were saying, like the soul is kind of rejecting this, like
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 I want out.
this is not normal. Like this doesn't feel right.
Mm-mm.
But okay, we're here, so let's try to figure this out. And obviously we're here for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to be a human now.
Mm.
Okay, so let's try to enjoy the human things and things that we're not going to, because dude, I'm done after this. Like I don't want to be a human again. Okay, so
No.
I'm gonna live it up while I'm here and be like last hurrah.
She's gonna have a leaving party
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
when they beam you up. I love it. What I have many questions now that are coming through. We've completely deviated from the questions, which is what I knew would happen. So many things to cover. Do you know what background you are, like starseed, alien wise?
So it's funny because I very recently, well, I've always kind of thought I was Lyran or just from Lyra, right?
Oh yeah, I
Um,
remember this. You sent me a message about this. Yeah.
yes. And then like a lot of it did, feel right for me, but then I
Mm.
was kind of like, but there's something else. Like they were like, there's something more. And then this past Lionsgate, a friend asked me like, because I'm born on the day after, so 8/9.
Wow.
She was like, "Do you feel connected to Sirius?" And I was like, all of a sudden, like never before. Like I've been like celebrating Lionsgate for a while now, right? We're like, "Yay, this is fun!"
Yeah.
But never before had I ever like been like, yes, serious, like, whoa, okay. And I felt it in my
Mm.
gut, it lit up, and it was like, yes, I do feel that connection. And then I like, went on the deep dive on Google, like Syrian star
Wow.
seeds. And oh yeah, baby. All of those things were ticked off. I was
That's
like,
amazing.
oh, so
Yes.
yeah. So it was a very fun new discovery.
Yeah, because I don't think a lot of people realize the Lionsgate connection to Sirius.
Yes.
They
I
don't
mean,
understand it's the portal and the gateway, etc.
yeah. And I've always been kind of drawn to Egypt, and
Yeah.
I just felt that was kind of like a, I don't know. I guess it's an ET thing, right?
Fucking 100%. Like I literally, as I told you, I went to an Egyptian exhibition today and I was looking at the stuff and I was like, this is so alien. All of it is so alien. Like
Yeah.
it's mad. And like doesn't half of the pyramids in well, we know that they're in Giza, right? There's the main ones, but there's a whole bunch. Like there's some in Mexico and some in Egypt. I forget, so don't come at me, anyone. I forget the details, but they align with areas of Orion, exactly like key points in Orion. And so do the same ones in Mexico. And there's like a whole bunch, and there's some that do the same with Sirius. So it's
uh,
like how, like, you can't, what are the fucking chances that these people, yeah, like, the more you know, the more you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
that was really fun to find. I'm like, oh, finally I found my other homeland.
That's interesting you saying that, because I was like you, like, I'd only been focused on one, the Arcturian, and then I had out of nowhere, I was driving my car the other week, and a Pleiadian just popped into my car, and I was like, like, fuck, I'm trying to, yeah. Apparently, they kind of appeared out of nowhere, and it was a tall blonde guy, and I was like, are you really all white blonde people? Because I feel like something kind of wrong with that. It's probably like white privileged spiritual people that are coming in and be like, the Pleiades, let me tell you. And I'm like, I don't know, but they're aliens.
Oh
Who the
my
fuck knows?
God.
Anyway, this guy appeared as such, and he was like 8 foot, and he told me his name was Arkheim. Like, so it's like, yeah, with an M on the end. And he starts telling me all about, like, the Pleiades and my time there, and how we were like married, but because I'm so anti-relationships at the moment, because I'm like, I've been in them for 22 years, and I'm only out of it last year. So I'm like, I was like, I literally
Oh,
said
yeah.
to this space in the car next to me, where everyone else is like, the fuck. I was like, Archive, you can talk to me about anything else. I don't want to know about our relationship. I am not interested. So, like, so then got it confirmed that I'm part, like, Pleiades as well, Pleiadian. And I was like, because every motherfucker apparently is a Pleiadian. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not that original. That used to be my take on it. I was like, cool, I've got a Pleiades husband apparently.
Oh my God. He's like, marry me.
Yeah, I was like, bleh. Also, I'm trying to fucking drive. I can't. Like, take a back seat, get out the car. Like, um,
Well,
how have you ever had, like, experiences trying to channel or connect with Lyrans, or I never, is it Syrians? Would you
I think so.
Syrians? Yeah,
Syrian.
Syrians. Yeah, well,
I I don't know. Honestly, like when I channel things, I'm still not super clear on where it's coming from.
mhm.
So I think it's funny because I, in the beginning, like diving into, learning how to connect with, spirits or, guides and all this, it was very much like, um, there's a lot about getting to know who your guides are, and like seeing them and connecting with them on an individual level and all this. I don't know why I never really felt like the need to do that. Um,
That's deep.
so I don't, besides one of my main guides, I don't really know who I'm talking to. It all just
Yeah,
comes as it needs to come, and I'm just
yeah.
like, I guess I'm not very detail oriented.
Mm.
I'm more of like a go with the flow, and
Yeah.
I have no Virgo in my chart. Let's just say that.
Probably, like, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's interesting though when you talk to the voices, because I'm the same. I get a lot of voices in my head. And I
Yeah.
I ask them, I'm like, what's your name? Like,
Oh,
what's your name and where are you from? And then I did this to this Pleiadian who nearly made me crash on the freeway. Do you call it the freeway in America?
yeah.
The we call it the motorway in the UK. Um, when he appeared, I was like, what is your name? Because I almost like need the names of them. I don't know if it's to help identify it more and solidify it in my mind that this invisible person that I'm talking to is a
Yeah.
being. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that. And maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, that's super interesting. I'm gonna think more about that because even like even my connections like with humans, right? If I meet someone for the first time, like sometimes I don't even remember their face. Like I don't remember their face or their name because I'm like, I'm what I'm feeling is energy, right? And I'm just seeing like their energy. So
Yeah.
I think I would recognize them through their energy more than their physical appearance, which is,
Alien.
yeah. And it's also like kind of silly because even so, my younger sister and I, well, both my sisters, I have two sisters,
Yeah.
are very much into fashion and we love clothes and, expressing ourselves that way. And it's funny because my younger sister, who's my best friend, will be like, oh my God, did you see that outfit or whatever, like on that person, or, like something. And I'm like, no. Like, I don't, like, I feel like I don't see anything sometimes, like with my two eyes, like I see stuff with my third eye, like first and foremost. And it's like, yeah, I just sometimes don't feel like a very observant person in the 3D way,
Yeah, but you are hella observant in the 5D way, and it might literally because you're operating out of a different level of consciousness. I think that's what it's sounding like, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's like you almost don't need to be like what we call detail orientated in the 3D, and like who the fuck cares about that really? I mean, even though we're supposed to try. But like yeah, apparently we're supposed to integrate with a 3D and Earth or some shit. I don't know. We're all trying to rise above it. It's confusing. But you're like literally recognizing them by their vibrational like frequency pattern, which is what consciousness is and made from. So you are detail oriented, but not in the way the earthlings understand.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
mean,
so
it helps
cool.
in some ways. It doesn't in
Yeah.
others.
It's come see, come that. I was gonna say, tell me about your journey with fashion and why, because you were a fashion designer, right? And then you left the industry.
Did. Yeah. So growing up, didn't care about clothes whatsoever. I was very much tomboy.
Yeah.
I was playing soccer, then I did water sports.
Ooh.
And then as I went into college, I guess it was probably my senior year in high school. All of my friends were seniors that year before. So basically everyone had graduated. I was like on my own my senior year for the most part. Like I had my sports friends, but it's kind of like no one really hangs out, It's like we all had our like different cliques or whatever.
Yeah.
So I found my kind of this like protection by wearing clothes. And I started, dressing a little more punk, and I went to the thrift store and would like buy little kids t-shirts, like graphic tees, and like that was kind of like my way of having this protective layer, right? And like saying like don't fuck with me, kind of, because I was so fucking sensitive, like I needed to have something because I didn't have anyone at that time. And so that's kind of where I started dabbling in fashion and having clothes as, a self-expression and really just as kind of an energetic protection in a way. And so then I went to college and I thought, I want to be an artist. I'm going to do an art major. I painted a lot to get out feelings that I, had felt so deeply, this like the ET stuff, right? The depression, the feeling like I don't belong here, all this stuff that I felt like no one would understand. So I did a bunch of abstract painting, and it was like I would get into the zone to just like, put it all on the canvas, and that's like just what really helped me. So I thought, okay, that's where my passion is, and then I ended up picking, I think I learned to sew in my childhood because it was something my mom did, and I picked it up from her. But I kind of self-taught myself, and I brought my sewing machine to college.
Like you do.
Yeah. In the dorm,
My friend's sewing machine, my roommate.
Yeah. So I actually started to kind of redesign things from the thrift store and, upcycle and make one of a kind things, because that's kind of like how I was expressing myself too. And, I had to be different.
Obviously.
So I had to have something no one else had.
Yeah. That's the Leo there as well.
Yes, definitely Leo energy. So yeah, I was like, oh shit, I am kind of skipping class because I'm getting into the zone here sewing. And, I was like, okay, grades aren't looking so good because I'm doing this passion project of mine, right? And then at the end of the year, I was talking to my parents like, I don't know, I might want to look into this fashion thing. and they were, super supportive. And at the time I was in San Diego, so I was going to San Diego State my freshman year.
Yeah.
And I was looking, to see if they had any kind of classes, and they didn't have any classes in fashion. So there was a community college nearby that had a fashion design program. So I was like, this is cool. It's scary because I did finally make friends, like now I'm going to have to leave them and go to a new school. But it was like, fuck it, I'm doing it. So I ended up doing a fashion program there, which was amazing. I was like glowing. I was like, I can't believe I'm going to school for this. This is so cool.
I love that.
Yes, it was amazing. And then I completed that program. It was 2 years, and I'm like, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I don't want to go in the real world yet. This is too much fun.
Yeah.
So I ended up transferring to Long Beach, where they have a 4-year program in clothing design. So yeah, I did that. I designed my senior collection based off of this kind of awakening experience that I had. I guess coming out of a depression.
Yeah.
Rather, it didn't feel spiritual to me at that time, but I had this kind of energetic epiphany where I think maybe my guides, now that I'm thinking back, maybe it was kind of like a breadcrumb of, you are following your gut, you're following your heart, and we're going to give you this like reward, right? We're going to show you a light at the end of the tunnel where you don't have to feel depressed anymore. Like that you have a little bit more power, than you think you do. Because I mean, my whole life I felt powerless, right? I didn't feel like I knew what the fuck was going on,
Me too, honey.
So, yeah, I know you understand. So yeah, that was the first time talking openly about my depression and how, I found myself out of it. And
yeah,
I'd been in therapy, I was taking medication and stuff. And there was this one therapist that just, I don't know if it was something she said. I don't know if it was just like the combination of, all the things I was doing to try to help myself, because even though part of me was like, fuck it, don't want to be here, this isn't my home, another part was like, no, you need to be here, So yeah, my senior collection was based on, going from dark to this epiphany of this light. And after sharing this with my classmates, and we basically built our collections, together. So it was like we would talk about each piece, and I had so many people coming up to me like, I felt that way too. Like, I've been depressed, and just you talking about it is like helping me, and I was like, whoa, shit, this is really cool. So
yeah, that's special.
Yeah, it was really cool. And that was the first time I think I felt like I was making a difference by sharing my story, and just feeling like, no, we're not alone in this, like, and there is a way out if you are feeling that way, right? So then I graduate, I get into the industry, and a piece of me was like, growing up being so sensitive, I'm obviously I'm still sensitive, but it was like,
not a bad thing though, right?
Right, it's our superpower.
It really is.
Everyone tells you fashion industry, so cutthroat, and you got to be so strong to do this, and like all this stuff. And I'm thinking like, I need to prove to myself that I can do this, because I do have a passion here, like this does light me up. But it was scary, so basically I think I had 5 different jobs in 5 years.
Well, I thought you meant at once. I was like, what?
Oh no. Every year I would move on to a new place.
Right.
And it was like, my soul was like, no, this isn't it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's got to be the job. It's got to be, maybe it's the people, maybe it's the company, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, on to the next. And then I had landed this job, the last one I've had in the fashion industry. And And basically on paper, it was a dream job. You know, it was like beautiful studio space that we had downtown, light, like the windows. It was, you know, just so light and airy. And I had creative freedom, like more than I've ever had before. You know, it was like almost make whatever you want as long as it's, you know, for this customer, right? But it's like I didn't have a boss breathing down my neck. I didn't have all this stress that like I had before, staying in the office till midnight. Like, no, like this was like heaven if this was a thing for me, right? And my soul was like still not happy. And I'm like,
oh no.
What do I do? So, you know, I'm keeping on doing the job, and all of a sudden my neck starts to hurt. And I'm like, oh, I think I turned it something wrong way or whatever. So I ended up going home because I like couldn't turn my neck.
Yeah.
And I laid down, and then it's harder and harder for me to move. So I didn't know what was happening. And I'm like, oh, whatever, I'll just put ice on it, you know, I'm gonna rest. I was laid out for a month. I couldn't lift my head. I was just laying down. Yes, it was a moment for me to stay still, right? To like listen. And I was like, okay, I know this is something telling me to kind of do this audit, you know, this life audit. And like, what am I really doing here? And so I'm like trying to ask myself like what lights me up. And I've been a nanny for years before this. Throughout college, I was a nanny. Like, I love kids. I feel like I connect with them because they are closer to the other side in a way, right?
Absolutely. Kids get it. Like, kids actually get what life's about.
Yes. So I feel like I'm on that level. Like, I'm going to be a forever kid, basically.
Same.
But I just with them, you know? So it's like that those little people light me up, you know, like being a part of that, if I could help them and, you know, just be someone that they can depend on and they can trust. And, you know, so basically I signed up to do my teaching credential because I thought, okay, this is a career, right? People will think it's acceptable because that's, you know, what society wants. So then I went back to school. I actually was taking classes while I was at my job after I went back to work.
Wow.
I think I took like 3 months off because I couldn't move, and they were like, oh, nothing's wrong with you. This is what they told me. We can't find anything wrong with you. So I knew it was like, this is energetic, right?
Right.
It's not physical. So I went back to school and I was like, oh my God, these people are so sweet. All my classmates just like, they just want to help, you know? And like, these are my people, you know, thinking like, I'm so happy I finally found people that like care about others and they want to make a difference in all this. And then we sat in the classroom. One of our first classes was to sit in a classroom and observe the classroom for 40 hours. And not even halfway through that, I was like, oh no, this is not for me.
Really?
I'm way too sensitive for this, especially like the school system is just so fucked up in multiple ways. And I'm like, bless your hearts, you sweet angel teachers, but I cannot do this. This is not for me. No, not it. So I'm like, oh, cool. So now what?
Yeah.
Because I was going to school and I was nannying at the time, and I was talking to my nanny mom at the time. She's a super witchy lady. Love her. And she was kind of like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, I wish I could just nanny and make art. And she was like, do it. So
love her.
I never realized that was like a thing that was possible, you know, that I could do. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this. And then I think her witchy side brought out my witchy side, because I've definitely been a witch in my past life. I feel most of us probably have. as you know, reincarnated women on the planet. And something, you know, sparked something, and then I, you know, dove fully down the rabbit hole of all of things.
Yeah,
and yeah,
right.
that's how I found energy work. That's how I found astrology. That's how I found, you know, all of the things. So
Yeah.
that's how I found my way out,
Yep.
basically. But yeah, I still love fashion. I love making clothes. I love the fact that clothes can make you feel more empowered and feel more confident, because, you know, a lot of people walking around don't feel confident in themselves. They don't, you know, they don't love themselves. And I think that's just an easy way, a more accessible way for people to find that confidence and even protect themselves if they wanted to, right? Like how I did when I was younger, like dressing all punk and goth and being like, be afraid of me, you know? Yeah.
So interesting. I did that with loud clothing, loud and weird clothing, like keep away, and it started coming back in the, again, the Aquarius way, like you can be around me but not too close kind of vibes. So I feel you. I think that's a really interesting way as well of like reconnecting with all the spiritual side and still being able to take the expression of who you are and your soul with fashion and give that, because that's like Taurus moon vibes, you know?
Yeah.
Like that really is like the way of connecting you to this paradigm, this earth, this 3D, but using beautiful Venus energy, you know, with like some of that alien, my arm disappeared then, alien witchy vibes. And I think it's like, it's all again like linked back to astrology and how, fuck, it's mad, isn't it? And
I know. It's so cool.
fuck, and even though I was already saying it, I was like, wait, Taurus moon, fuck. What's your north node, by the way?
My north node,
What sign's that in?
I think it's in Taurus.
I was about to say, I bet yours is in Taurus because mine's in Taurus, and that's all about reconnecting with the earth.
Well, would you look at that? I'm pretty sure it is Taurus.
And
Look
if
that up.
that's for people who don't know what your north node is, like it's like realigning with your purpose and looking at areas of that sign. So for Taurus, it's all about, isn't it, like stability, grounding, taking things slow, like expressing yourself through beauty, which is what you're doing with fashion. And then you've got Scorpio in the south node, which is like taking those karmic lessons. So very spiritual, very witchy, can do the occult side of things very easily, but taking some of the best things from that as well to help you like bridge to the north node. So I flipping knew you were a Taurus north node. I was like, I bet my bottom dollar she is. And it's just so interesting that that's your moon and how you express yourself as well, and links exactly back to the, you know, the fashion, the beauty and the art.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Mind blown. Every time I like
Oh,
learn something about astrology and like your chart, and like I don't know if you know who Natalia Benson is, you might because of Gala.
oh
Okay.
yeah.
So she was talking about the Jupiter placement and how this is kind of like your pain point turned into power, right?
Mm.
And so mine is my Pluto is in the 11th house of community, and looking that up fucking blew my mind. Of course, you know, for the billionth time that astrology blows my mind.
Oh my God.
Finding it was like basically they were saying, you know, online, whoever this astrologer is who wrote this article that basically told my life story.
It's
Like,
amazing.
I know. It was like you grew up feeling like you were out of place. And like the goal of this life and this power is to find community and to build this community and have like-minded people come together, and for you to feel like you're still an individual, but you're
Mm.
in this, you know, you're in this community, you're with others, and feeling so alone in like the beginning of your life, that's like that that's where you're pushing towards is building this community and being part of community rather than that, you know, lone wolf. And man.
I
Okay. Tell me about my
what
life. Yeah. Yeah.
wild for you. And like that's exactly what you're doing now.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Pulling myself out of my comfort zone. I'm tapping into my Leo leadership energy, right? Like, this is so sensitive to me right now. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing it.
It's so brave and amazing. And do you want to share with people how you're stepping into community and being like a leader?
Yes, I would love to. So I just built this club called Club TBC.
So cool. It's so cool,
Okay,
guys.
a little side note. My dad loves Elvis Presley. I love Elvis Presley. Like, there's something about him that just tugs at my heartstrings, you know. Obviously I love his music, but yeah, there's just a piece of me that just will always love Elvis. Anyway, so
Love
he
that.
called his band TCB, which is taking care of business. And my dad always loves like saying taking care of business because that's just, he's a Capricorn. So he takes
That'll
care of
do it
all the time.
every
So yeah,
day. That's his hobby, his life, his passion. Anyway, sorry, we digress. So
yes, exactly. So this is kind of my nod to that. And also like, I wanted to build this community where we can support each other in achieving goals, like big and small. I work well having people kind of motivate me, you know, having someone to kind of report to, like, hey, I'm going to do this thing. I need to be held accountable because I'm also a manifesting generator who loves to start things and not finish them. And and that's okay. Like, that's totally okay. I learned that that's okay. But I also do have things that I really love to do that I don't really make time for, and that I know that will help me in the long run, that I'm still like kind of flaky with. So having an accountability group always helps me. I actually just was a part of a 30-day meditation challenge, which we were checking in every day that we were meditating that day, right? And it was like, oh shit, yes, this works. Like, I love this. And it's for our greater good, right? It's so I'm very much focused on, first of all, I'm attracting all of the best people, right? Like I've showed through Gala Darling that I can build a community. We can have community of like-minded people who are badasses, who like really want what's best for others, and who are just firecrackers in their own way, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I've seen that that's possible. I know that these people are out there. The way Gala built the vortex and having that community, that was like the first time I've ever felt like I actually belonged somewhere, you know? And it was like, holy shit, this is so cool. And so yeah, I dreamed this up a while ago, and I've wanted I've wanted to kind of ignore this this feeling of wanting to bring people together because it's scary. Like, this is my pain point, right? Like, are people really going to like me or something? I don't know what it is, but it's like, it's I knew that's where the power was, because that's where I was so afraid, you know? And so I actually just launched it last night. Like, I don't even know, it was like 9 p.m. or something. Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be a club. We're going to do like co-working hours via Zoom. So like, you know, I'm going to have a bunch of different options of like an hour, maybe an hour to 2 hour chunks multiple times a week. So you can come and tune in and do work with me, right? Like, we're mirroring each other. We're, you know, like, hey, you're doing it, I'm doing it too. You know, it's going to help us to stay accountable. And I'm going to bring, you know, of course, EFT tapping, which is a love of mine and yours, I'm sure.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yes, to help us with motivation, with procrastination, with building willpower, because I have a good amount of willpower. Like if I really want to do something, I will fucking do it. But motivation is fleeting, right?
Mm.
It's the willpower that we need to build and to kind of be able to rewire our brains to have that through EFT tapping. Like it's going to be a game changer. So yeah, just I'm going to have, channeled EFT scripts for us where, I'll ask, what are you, struggling with right now? And we're going to do it as a team.
So
Team
cool.
effort to get the things that we want done, the things that are lighting us up that we don't, necessarily give too much time to, because maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's self-care, like maybe it's you meditating or getting out in nature more, just having this accountability and having other support. And I know I'm going to attract the best people in it. It's just going to be so magical. And I'm excited. I'm so excited.
That's so cool. I just got
Yeah.
a download as well that you could do like tapping on motivation or willpower for each human design. Like types,
Ooh,
because like for instance, they're not all going to have the same
right.
motivational strategy. So that could be super interesting as well, like teaching people about what that looks like through the lens of their maybe, their moon sign or their human design and make it even more nuanced.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, I've been
Wow.
getting to. I think it sounds like such a great idea. Congrats on launching it. So how can people join?
I have a link on my website. I have a whole, page saying exactly what you're getting. I'm also including group Reiki. So
Nice.
already I have this offering where I do group sessions via Zoom, where I do a little bit of tapping in the beginning and then it's 30 minutes of Reiki. And so I'm doing this twice a week already.
Mm.
So that will be included in the club. So, clear those blocks out, get your energy right. Like, yes. So it's just going to help you even more, right? Accomplish
I
your
love
goal.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so exciting. Okay, so you've set up this club, you're starting to live in your best life, you've seen like how community and membership can be built, all amazing. Like, what are areas of life that you feel like challenges in at the moment that like, because obviously not everything's sunshine, like if you're willing to share, like, is there anything that you're challenged with at the moment that you're working on?
Oh gosh, so much.
Life.
Where do I start? Oh, there's still I have a lot of self-doubt still, I need to really kind of get deeper into because I feel like I have a strong will to really do what I'm supposed to be doing here, right, on earth. And
Mm.
but I still have this inner voice that's like, are you sure you can do that? Or are you ready? Oh, the imposter syndrome is just so fun,
It's it's lovely, isn't it? Does it have like anyone's voice that like mine takes on the form of my older sister or my dad's voice because they were like the biggest bullies.
Damn.
How about
Well,
you? Does yours take on a certain voice or no?
a certain voice, I don't know if it's a certain voice, but I do feel you on that older sister thing.
Yeah.
um, yeah. Okay, part of it is that because growing up, I cried all the time because I was so sensitive, and she was not a fan of that. And she made me know
Yeah.
it. It's like, shut the fuck up. If she could say that, if she could have said that when she was younger, she would have.
Yeah. If she could say the F word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like, you're annoying, like that's the voice that's probably the loudest, like, you're annoying, like, stop.
Yeah.
So it's getting over that hump of like, you sharing your thoughts, you sharing, this, it's not annoying, like, just,
Mm-mm.
I need to rewrite that, and I
Yeah.
actually had a very healing conversation with her. I think it was the year before last, because we are such opposites. Like, I love her, you know, but it's just like, I just, I've never understood her, you know? So, and I did have this moment where I was, you know, digging through childhood wounds, you know, and like trying to heal these childhood things. And that was a huge, huge part of the reason why, you know, I felt small, and the reason why I felt like I couldn't be who I was, because, you know, she told me I was annoying.
Yeah. And you hear that enough times, well, guess what? Then you feel like you're annoying.
Yes, exactly. Like, I still feel like I'm annoying sometimes. It's like,
Yeah,
damn it.
I feel that.
So yeah, I had this conversation with her, like, I just need you to know, because I'm trying to rewrite this stuff, you know, of how you made me feel growing up. And, you know, she listened, and she didn't have much to say, you know, but it was fine, you know, like, at least I was able to kind of, you know, get that off my chest, and have that process to start healing that, you know, that inner child who was basically told it wasn't okay to be me, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's still some of that left for sure.
Yeah.
And putting myself out there to be seen is like huge. I'm so scared.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. And it's like, I want to be, I just like want to spread love, and I just want to spread like the message of like, you are perfect the way you are, right? Like, we are all perfect the way we are. That's the reason why we came to be our unique expression, right? Is because
Yeah.
Earth fucking needs it, right? So I think the chance of hearing criticism, which I know is inevitable if you're putting yourself out there, there are going to be people who want to just shit on you, right? So I just like, oh my God, how am I going to handle that? So
Yeah.
I think also been like a big part of the reason why I haven't really put myself out there as much as I know I should be.
It's a process though, isn't it? Like, that's one of the things I thought for the longest time, and it's not happened yet. It's
Yeah.
not, and I am out there on the internet now, like, I'm uploading things onto YouTube because I was the most scared of YouTube. It's gonna happen, and I'll let you know when I have my meltdown. But like, there's so many ways that like people can protect themselves as well. Like one person I knew, she was like this best-selling author, and like, she got a lot of attention. And she had a virtual assistant read comments of posts so that she didn't have to.
Ah,
Um, that's
that's really
there's
cool.
ways like that. And then other ways of like, sometimes the Kardashians, they just like fucking turn the comments off. And I'm like, fucking great. Um,
Yeah.
but what's interesting is like I've got a friend who's like a pretty big like TikToker now, and she says that like TikTok can be weird, but Instagram there can be like loads of shit. She doesn't even read her comments. She's like,
Oh,
I
wow.
just and I because I was reading something, I was like, bitch, like, these people are brutal. And she was, and I didn't know that was like I think she was like, yeah, I don't read them because they're too upsetting. So
Yeah.
that's enough. I just don't know if I'd have that self-discipline though. I'd be like, what the fuck are they saying?
So either I'm like, I don't know, I might want to read
Oh,
them, but also like the feeling of like wanting to connect to the people who are actually, you know, commenting nice things, and like, how I don't want them to like feel neglected.
That's a good point. I think that, yeah, I don't know, like it's gonna happen. That's what we know. I think you just gradually build to it. I'm just gradually building, like, but like you said, it's really because I had exactly the same thing growing up. You're too much, you're too loud, you're too emotional, you're annoying. And I'm back at home living in my parents' home at the moment because I came back from Australia. I'm in this in between. I'm like, am I going to America, back to Australia? Am I staying in the UK? I don't know. So I'm hearing a lot of that shit again as an adult, and motherfucker, if it isn't the most triggering thing. So it's really interesting. So some of the things like, I mean, you do all the energy work, but like I take my inner child on walks and I talk to her about the pain points, and I take her at 9, I take her at 12 years old, 15 at 18. I've got a very angry teenager that I didn't understand that's like making working for others very hard. So that like that's been some really healing shit, like telling them like you
Sure.
are perfect as you are. And that's why we do what we do, isn't it? Like, we want to give everyone else that because we didn't necessarily feel that from people.
Yeah, that's such a
Yeah.
great idea. I love that.
Yeah, take them on walks. I started with it on the beach, and then it's gone to the next level now. I've got my 8-year-old around, inner child, not daughter. And then I've got a
Yeah, there you
70-year-old
go.
version of me as well. And the 70-year-old's doing for me what I'm doing for the 8-year-old. And then we have group hugs. It's super quantum. I highly recommend it. It's so healing.
That is so cool. I never
Yeah.
even thought, that never crossed my mind.
The aliens, dude.
I love that.
Their aliens literally tell me like how to do it and what to do it. And so I just felt called to share it with you. And it's just being protected by someone older than you, that's another version of you, is like the same thing that she would feel.
Yeah.
And then I had these memories of seeing like a woman with blonde hair when I was a kid, and I have black hair naturally. And then now I realize it was my future self coming
Oh,
in. I thought it was angels because, you know, when you were a kid, you thought angels
yeah.
had blonde hair, right? Because again, like
Yeah.
fucking white privilege shit. And I'd like, let's say it.
1,000%.
Oh, fucking 1,000%. And only angels are white with blonde hair. Sounds like the whole Pleiadian shit again. I mean, I swear. But and it was me. It was actually me.
Oh,
You'll I swear to God, you'll start, like, if you start more of that process, you'll see it. And it's the most healing thing. And it was the difference between me not doing the TikToks, the YouTubes, and this podcast, because I've been trying to do a podcast for a long time. It was the biggest milestone that I could have done.
wow. That's
So I
so cool.
reckon it could help you.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try that. I love that.
Taking your little self on walks. It's so fun. I didn't realize how angry my inner child was. She was like, you say you love me and you say you protect me, but you keep putting me through this situation. You don't get me away from him. You do not protect me. And I was like,
Oh. Oh.
I was like, oh,
Tell
okay.
you how it is.
Oh, I know. So when it comes to like all the different spiritual modalities and tools that you dabble and practice in, like, what's your favorite? What lights you up the most?
I fucking love Reiki, but it's a combination of that and connecting with guides. Like, when I was getting trained for Reiki, I started to hear, messages, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, I didn't know that this was going to open that kind of channel up, right? But it just comes so hand in hand for me. So it's like all encompassing. Like, you get this beautiful healing energy through your body, and then you're hearing like fun things, mostly just advice and like encouragement. It's just such a good feeling. And the way that can help other people is just what truly is amazing, like, for me. And just knowing that's something I can provide for people, it just lights my little heart up. Yeah, I love it.
With all of the things that you have been learning, like, what's like the big manifestation for your life, like, that you're trying to bring about? Do you have like a big dream that you're working towards?
That's a great question. I think just very 3D, being financially free. But honestly, like, I feel like my dreams kind of shift a lot, I don't know if that's like the Manny Gen, but I feel like I have like, all these like different goals. Like, another thing I'm working on is building a collection that is focused on upcycling clothes and, creating things that are already here, because we all know the clothing industry kills everything. People, all the things. So just spreading awareness on reusing things, and I'm also going to wrap up a program for young people to teach them how to upcycle things, because it's trending right now. Like, I don't know if you've seen it on TikTok or whatever, right, on the internet. Like, the kids these days are super into it, you know? So it's like, this is the time. And if, who knows, not everyone was taught how to sew when they were little, you know? Like, yeah. So it's like, I would love to give that skill to people, you know, to young kids who desperately need some self-confidence right now.
Yeah.
The way the internet is, right? Like, I can't imagine having that shit when I was younger. I would probably not be here, you know? Like,
Legit.
it's really intense. And to just, you know that these kids are comparing themselves to fucking airbrush shit, you know? It's just like, it's so not cool. And anyway, that's another passion, is to like help kids build confidence. And, you know, if I can teach them how to sew with a needle and thread so they can make their own clothes or whatever, that would be so cool. So
I love that.
That's another goal. Yeah, I'm gonna build a collection, and that'll be kind of like the I guess the advertising, you know, for this program, and just something fun because I love making things.
Yeah, and it gets you back, but it's also very starseed of you in a way to use your passion for fashion to make the earth a better place, because that's what we're here for, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And you're literally doing that through another modality, and it all ladders up to like saving the earth.
Save the earth.
Save the motherfucking earth, bitches. She's amazing. Guy is a babe.
I love you.
Love you. I think that's all really, really exciting. Okay, I've got 2 more questions and we can wrap up, and I'll let you go because I know we're over and I know you have a whole day ahead of you. So what is, maybe it's going to be 3. What is something about you that people don't know that you wish they knew?
Oh.
A general thing.
Something that people don't know about me. I guess that I wish they knew. I feel like I share quite a bit nowadays. I used to be a singer in a band.
That's fucking cool. I did not know that.
That's something I don't really share because I love to sing. Like, I'm a karaoke person. Like, I love me some karaoke. And I think the band moment taught me that I love to sing, but I'm not quite a musician, because I tried to write songs and it's just not my gift.
Got it.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like blank, like I have no idea what I'm doing here, but I love to sing. So yeah, that's just fun fact, I guess. Like,
that's
come
amazing.
karaoke.
When I come to LA, that's gonna happen.
Oh my God, yes. I love it.
100% If you had a billboard, this is a question I steal from Tim Ferriss. If you had a billboard and it had a message for the world that you want them to know, what's that big message? No pressure.
No pressure. It's just a billboard.
Just a billboard that the world's gonna see, you know?
The whole world will see. You are your own superpower.
Love that. What does that mean to you?
It's like being yourself. Being yourself is the superpower. Like, we all try to be like other people, right? Like, I want to be more like them, or I wish that I had that. And no, dude, you are the superpower. Like, you're the medicine, right? Being yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Yeah. You got to listen to that for you when you're getting more public with being yourself.
Yeah, I know.
Because we need it. We do. You've got such a great personality instead of gifts, and the world needs it. Fucking 100%.
Thank you. I know. I need to tattoo that on my forehead.
Look, maybe not on the forehead, but maybe like your arm, you know? Because that probably wouldn't help.
I don't have any. I'm bare.
I'm shocked. Shooketh. I am shooketh. Who inspires you?
who inspires me. I'm gonna say Gala, darling, because I mean, we love her.
We do.
But honestly, like the way she puts herself out there, the way she's helping people, and just she definitely is proving to me that I can do that too, you know,
Yeah.
that I can be someone who cares about other people but is still fucking cool, you know? Who still does whatever the fuck they want, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we don't have a lot of role models who are, or just people who are their own special kind of unicorn energy, that are doing good, right? Like
Yeah.
people idolize musicians, right? And I believe that musicians are also helping people, absolutely.
Mhm.
But the way that Gala is and how she, I actually found her because of my journey with self-love, because I didn't love myself my whole life, right? So that's how I found her. And it, like the fact that she's teaching that, come on, like that's just life-changing shit, you know, and that everyone needs. And not a lot of people do still, like, you know, adults are walking around hating themselves. So it's like, it's such a huge impact that she's making, but she's also like, you know, head to toe in glitter. Like, like
So wonderful.
you know, it's just showing that if you are being yourself, like you can fucking change the world, you know?
Yeah.
And I believe she does really embody that, even if, you know, even if we don't know the half of it, right? It's like she's still doing it. So I definitely admire that in her. And yeah, I love her.
You've got like, for me, you've got really similar energy, but obviously like through who you are and like how I came across you with like through your amazing outfit that you wore to the vortex that Gala shared. And I was like, this bitch and I are going to be friends. She doesn't know it yet. But you showed up unapologetically in that outfit. And I feel like for me, that was like a shining example of everything you've just said about Gala, like you're already doing. And it's just like a case of making it more fucking visible because people like me need to see like that the same sort of thing. Because yeah, we've got Gala, and I'm trying to think of like, I can't think of a lot of people out there that embody that same sort of energy that resonates, you know, with the ET sequin weirdo aliens like us. We need more examples of it. I'm sure there are, and I just can't think of it now. Like, I'm sure they're on my favorites, but like for me, you're right up there as well. So I feel like if that counts for anything, get the fuck and make like a set of YouTubes because we want to see it.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. That really does.
Exactly.
I
Wow, it's all
definitely
true.
feel like we're from the same planet, Gala and I.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I would love you to share, where can people book you for sessions? What kind of sessions can they book you for? You already told us how to join the club, but like what kind of services do you provide and where can they find you to book them?
Yeah, I have a website. It's called electriclovemagic.com.
Beautiful.
And yeah, you can find me there. You can find me on Instagram. I'm eee.was.here. Yeah. And yeah, I do Reiki, I do intuitive readings. Now I have the club going. I do custom EFT tapping. Yeah. I I love really connecting on the gram right now. I'm going to put myself out there on more platforms like YouTube. That's a goal of mine. But yeah, I love just connecting on the gram because I don't know, it just feels comfy, you know?
Yeah. Start there. Start there. Then you're already doing it. And amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your time. This was so magical.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
You
you.
being my first podcast just make me feel so welcome.
Honestly, I loved it. Thank you.
And there you go. That is another episode of Cosmic Everything. Thank you so much for joining me. It was amazing to hang out with you in the cosmos. If you want to continue hanging, you can follow us at The Cosmic Co on TikTok, The Cosmic Co _ on Instagram, and you can also book me for readings, including how to manifest with astrology, a report just for you based on your birth chart, or a psychic reading, or even messages from your spirit guide. So if you need any help with any of that, get in touch and let's hang out there too in the astral. Okay, I'll see you soon.